loyal to your audience, you know, play the long game, be slow but effective, and leave a lasting impact on this world?
I had been given a very large guaranteed income from them.
How many families do you think there is, and what is the total loan amount do you think that you helped influence? Hello and welcome back to the Masters of Real Estate. Today I'm talking to a fellow Bay Area real estate professional, Jim Black. Jim, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great, Nick. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Likewise, very excited to have you on. So, Jim, you are master of many things, but how do you introduce yourself these days?
Yeah, I like to call myself a home loan lender. I look at myself as bat loan man. When you need me, I'm there for you for big life decisions around real estate.
Back loan man. I love it. Anytime you're stuck at a tough point in life and you need a loan to get out of it, call Jim Black. Jim, what spirit animal or bird best describes your operating philosophy?
Yeah, I'm like an elephant. I've always loved elephants. They have a very good memory. I like to remember people, places, and all the stories in my life. They're very loyal, and hopefully they last for a very long time. So I'm more of a elephant than I am a rabbit or some other fast animal. I like to move slow, effectively, leave my imprint, leave an impact, and remember the people that matter to me in my life.
Wow. Is that kind of your operating philosophy in life? You know, remember conversations, be loyal to your audience, you know, play the long game, be slow but effective, and leave a lasting impact on this world?
Yes, it is. I've been early on in my life, two of my mentors passed away of brain cancer. And one of those mentors was my uncle. He was a very successful investment banker, the number one guy in the whole entire world. He brought over 200 companies public, from Amazon to eBay to Yahoo to Genentech. And unfortunately, you can have all the wealth in the world, but if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. So I got to learn early on in my life that leaving a legacy and really trying to help people and leave an impact is what it's all about. So I'm big on legacy and helping people feel empowered to make good decisions in their life.
I love it. I love it. And what did your other mentor teach you, Jim?
Yeah, so my other mentor I got to meet about 2 months after my uncle passed away. He taught me basically that you have to be able to adapt, to shift, and always try to think 3 steps ahead. So it's the Wayne Gretzky quote you've probably heard a million times. It's not where the puck is, it's where the puck's going to be. That's how Wayne Gretzky was the highest scorer of all time in the NHL, because he was able to think 3 steps ahead and be there when the opportunity was there for it.
Leave a legacy by helping people and creating a positive impact, and go where the puck will be. Think 3 steps ahead. That's amazing, Jim. As you look back over your broad career trajectory, and it's been quite amazing, what's the key metric you feel summarizes your professional life so far, cumulatively?
I just love that people have trust in me in the biggest life decisions that they make. One of my favorite stories was help a post office worker, a mail delivery person, buy a property. And 5 years after I helped him, he had referred me over 45 people.
Wow.
The last referral I got from him, he came in with his son and had 2 pieces of paper in his hand and said, "Jim, this is how much my family trusts you. I would like you to help us decide what college my son is going to go to."
Wow.
So I got to help be part of that process, to help ask questions, to make sure that his family, who he had trusted me with, got to make sure that they thought of all the different solutions and scenarios to make a good choice for college. So that's how I get, my passion is really through helping people with large decisions. It's not just a mortgage. It's anything in life. If I can be involved with their life, that means a lot to me.
That's so inspiring. That gave me goosebumps, Jim. If you had to add up all the loans you originated and all the families you helped, how many families do you think there is, and what is the total loan amount do you think that you helped influence?
Yeah. So every day, like you, Nick, we show up and we work hard, right? We have a passion for this. I do look back and I've done over 9,000 loans personally in my career. It's been 23 years now, and it's probably close to $2.5 billion of production. Again, it's not about the money, it's about helping people. So every day, I look forward to helping as many people as I can. So that's what keeps me going.
And one of your listeners right now will be lucky family number 10,000 or Jim Black. That's where we're going to have chick reach. 10,000 sounds like a much better number than 9,000. Wow, but Jim, seems like you, helped a lot of families make the most important or probably the biggest purchase in their life and financed the super majority of it. But when you look back at your past, before you had originated 9,000 loans or $2.5 billion of financing, before you had helped a father decide which college his son should go to, from a post master who helped you with 45 referrals, before all of this happened, let's go back to zero. What's been your broad trajectory so far from zero to what you are today?
My growth trajectory has been basically just to stay humble, work hard. I look at life kind of like playing sports. You either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. And so I look at every day trying to get better in the things that matter to me in my life, staying true to my core values, what I stand for, and every day trying to move the ball forward, trying to get a little bit better. Because being stagnant, being stuck into something, people are getting better around you and they're moving forward in life. So I'm trying my best to every day just get one step at a time.
Mm. And I had a chance to look at your background, Jim. Seems like you had the amazing privilege of working at WAMU, Washington Mutual, right before the entire housing market collapsed. And it seems like you just joined them for a year right out of business school. So how was that experience like, and how did that shape, how did that inflection point shape your perspective in the housing market and housing financing?
That was a very wild time, Nick. That was when there were a lot of lenders doing bad loans, the old stated income liar loans. Unfortunately, I never did any of those. We didn't have those available when I was at other companies. But what's kind of wild to think about is at that point in time, it was 2005 to 2007. In the middle of 2007, ironically, I got recruited to Countrywide. I left, yeah, for a while. And for those that don't know, Countrywide had the highest velocity of originations pretty much ever. They invented basically the fastest way to originate a portfolio of loans, and that was the demise. They grew too fast and they did not do quality loan.
They were the face of the collapse. Yeah.
Yes. And ironically, I had been given a very large guaranteed income from them. I had asked them to guarantee my income from the previous year at WAMU, and they said, no problem. When I left WAMU's leaders, the heads of the company, called me and said, Jim, you're crazy. Countrywide's going bankrupt. Or what are you thinking? And guess what company went bankrupt first?
Wow.
Washington Mutual.
Wow. And they were a Bank of America, right?
Yes. Countrywide was absorbed by B of A. Washington Mutual was a portfolio lender. So every dollar that they lost in their portfolio was directly affecting their balance sheet and the value of the company. So the house of cards fell faster on WAMU because they owned all the notes. So unfortunately, that market was just the perfect storm. People were not doing quality loans. There's a great movie called The Big Short. If you haven't seen that, it's about the entire, let's say, 2-year span of all this stuff happening. And I was fortunate to have my contract honored and guaranteed by Countrywide. I got every dollar that they promised me.
Wow.
So pretty wild to think about. I would have not got paid a penny if I was a WAMU. So sometimes the lesson is, sometimes in life, timing can play a role positively, negatively. But if you have a plan in place and you have a long-term horizon for your goal, speed bumps or small opportunities are really just distractions and noise to the overall goal.
Mm. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. But you had when you started your career, seems like you had the biggest speed bump you could think of. Right, the world seemed like right now when we look at the graphs, it looks like a U. But when the line of the U is starting, it feels like it's just all going to zero. Right. So how did that inflection point shape your perspective on the home financing market, and then how was the recovery between like till 2012 when the market finally bottomed out?
Great question. It's kind of like people living through the Great Depression. People get I think their values get tested and galvanized in hard times, right? You truly get to know who you are and what you stand for when things aren't good, when you're up against the wall and it feels like you have no hope and that the world is ending. You can really kind of, I think, understand who you are as a person. What I have come out of that with is the fact that owning a home um, as an investment is one thing, but owning a home to be happy with family or friends or people you care about is priceless. So a lot of people lost their investment part of that during that time frame, but hopefully they came out with stronger qualities or family values about what really mattered. Do I need to have a huge home? Do I need to have 3 cars? Do I need to have all this extra stuff? That doesn't matter at the end of the day, because during that time frame, a lot of people lost a lot of things that were materialistic. Those things are not things that you have that make you happy in life. And so I was very lucky during that time frame to be able to take from that. I was 30 years old at the time. I owned several homes at the time. I learned from that sometimes less is more, and just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I've lived with that. It's so funny now, Nick. It'll take me longer to buy a car. It'll take me like a week to figure out the best solution to buy a car than it will take to buy a house. It's so strange, like how sometimes the smaller things make you think more than the larger things. And so I just know that that's stuck with me. When I talk to clients or referral partners, I make sure that we look at the long-term plan. And if things don't work out well, is it still a good idea to do this? And when they say yes, I feel comfortable and confident that they're making a good decision.
Wow. Yeah. And after all that, the most of the financing market had frozen out. How was life like in the late 2000 and the early 2010?
Sure. So I went from being a specialist in one product for Countrywide to when I showed up, within 2 weeks, they discontinued the product.
Hmm.
And that was 97% of my business. I was the custom construction lender for Wildman. Countrywide had me be a custom construction lending manager to the West Coast. Well, I had to pivot right away and shift my model. And I realized that you have to be diverse in what you do. You have to have diversity. You have to have pillars of business. So I ended up having 4 new pillars of business to spread out my business to make sure that there was no cyclical negative downside to being all in with one category. So that was really a good lesson for me. So I learned how to be a really good renovation specialist, an REO short sale specialist, traditional purchase specialist. And then in 2010, I helped kind of, I think that year I did over $110 million in FHA streamline refinances. So I had literally gone from one of the worst times in my professional career within 2 months to one of the best times. And
Wow.
it was pretty wild to have that perspective in such a short period of time.
Hmm. And for people who don't understand, a renovation specialist is somebody who provides short-term loans for buying a home and fixing it. Um, a short sale specialist is somebody who would help finance the purchase of properties that banks are selling after foreclosures. These are also called REOs, or real estate owned, which is a code word for bank owned properties. A traditional purchase is just your classic vanilla purchase home. What is FHA streamlined refinances?
Yeah, so when you have an FHA loan or a VA loan, those two specific products have flexibility in a way you can refinance if rates go lower. So I was lucky to have a large database of FHA clients that I could go reach out to. Rates dropped significantly in 2010, or they stayed low, I should say. And in that time frame, I was able to capture a lot of people that could save at least 0.5% in interest at a cost or break even in cost of less than 2 years. So it was a really great time where people could have a benefit immediately, pretty much, and know that they were saving money to help maybe get more back in their 401k or college savings plan or recuperate some of the credit card bills they had built up. It's very similar to today where we are with VA IRRRLs, interest rate reduction loans, and FHA streamlines. There's been a major opportunity in the past 2 weeks here in the latter part of 2024 that allow us to take advantage of that. So right now, a lot of people are saving money, which is great. It's a bonus. I never count on it for my clients, but it's a bonus for them. So it's a very, very happy moment when that happens.
Oh, so for listeners listening, a renovation specialist for financing is, getting really good at financing homes that are bought to be fixed and then eventually flipped in 3 to 6 months. REO specialist is a short form for real estate owned specialist, which is another way to describe, helping finance properties that are bought directly from banks when they auction them. Bank auctions are also called real estate owned auctions. Don't ask me why. And a traditional purchase specialist is basically financing a traditional vanilla home purchase loan. But Jim, help us understand more about what are FHA refinancings or FHA streamlined refinance.
Sure. So FHA streamline refinances specifically are the opportunity for someone to get a better loan rate for a very little cost and very little documentation if they've been current on their payments, if they have a job still. It's one of those ways that the government agencies, specifically Jenny May, allow you to have some flexibility in refinancing.
Fascinating. So, Jim, seems like you build your career diversified across these four pillars from the ashes of the 2008 crisis, which hit you as soon as you started your career. And after that, it seems like you caught the entrepreneurial bug. So, how was that journey and transition like?
Great question. So I've been very lucky to have met a lot of fantastic people in this industry that have helped me get to where I am today. But it always starts to me, I make investments in people and services that can complement the consumer. So everyone always asks me, you're crazy to have invested 7 figures in 6 companies. You're an advisor, angel investor, all this crazy stuff. Well, to me, it's really simple. If it complements my business model, I pretty much have my own laboratory. I can kind of bring these tools in, see if they work, figure out how they integrate together or align, and bringing them into my environment. So I'm very lucky to have these opportunities. So I am a test dummy because I'm still in the trenches to understand what the consumer needs. So I get invited to a lot of interesting meetings, and it's always exciting to be putting your energy and passion into something that's going to innovate and make something better for all of us.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. And so, how did you eventually end up advising so many, fintech startups and startups in the prop tech space?
Yeah, it just takes one. Once you get introduced to a board of advisors and board members, they're like, Jim, you'd be good in this company. Let me introduce you. Jim, you'd be good as an investor in this company. Jim, can you use this product? So I've been lucky to work with some of the top people in our industry. If I hadn't been an investor or advisor, they would never speak to me. They'd be like, Jim, who? But now I get to sit as a peer with them in this specific company or goal or build out. And it's just pretty awesome to have a seat at the table as little Jim Black with these mega famous people that they're normal people, but I get to now sit with them at the table and call my friends, which is pretty awesome.
That's amazing. It seems too good to be true. Honest, Jim. Have you ever been at a have you ever been at a phase in your life where you felt like you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, that absolutely. Sometimes in real estate, it is a marathon, not a sprint. So sometimes in life, it's hard to turn off work. So my experience of probably having been in a dark tunnel was in 2009 when everything is imploding around you. You see your friends losing properties. You see people going through divorces. When you own a home and you help people all day long and it's all negative news, and you come home and you see your house worth less also, and everything's not positive but negative, it's really hard to continue on, right? It's
Mm,
really hard to stay motivated when 24 hours a day, I'm an expert in something that's having major issues. It's really hard. But then I thought to myself, um, I should try to lead out of this. There's people that can lead, follow, or should get out of the way. And I chose at that point in time, at the lowest low of my career, to be a leader. And I said, you know what? I'm going to suck it up. And it's not poor Jim. I'm 32 years old. I got a life ahead of me. This is an amazing life lesson, and I'm going to get through it all. And the lesson out of that was it takes about 7 times the amount of energy, time, pain, stress to get out of something than it does to get into it. So if it's buying a property, if it's in a relationship, if it's a job, sometimes you really want to think through things before you make decisions. So I've learned to be a little more patient in my decision-making process. And again, visualize the decision I'm making for the long run and why I'm making that decision. So if something in the short run happens, it's not going to affect my long-term vision or plan.
mm, mm. It's very, very interesting insight. So let's jump back to the present. So how did all of this um, end up cumulatively to you being involved with Revest, which is your current company, and what's keeping you busy these days at Revest?
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. I love my platform. So I founded this company, Revest, about 4 years ago now. It's a real estate and lending company, and you can do that in certain states, California being one of them. I'm also licensed personally in over 25 states. So my vision has always been to help a consumer. Well, a lot of families are leaving California to migrate to different parts of the country. So my database, people I care about, are leaving to go somewhere else. So if I do not continue to evolve and adapt and grow, I won't have my database. So I started getting my licenses in each state, and I am basically now creating a model where we're going to have real estate, financial services eventually, insurance, and of course mortgage built into one environment. And that's why we call it Revest. Real estate being, my tagline is Revest in You, because we want to make sure that we have the solutions that are there for that life event. And when you help people with life events, you aren't getting shopped. It's not about the lowest rate or fee. It's about helping someone and being an impact in their life. And so I love being in that category of our industry. I don't have call centers. It's just our team. We have about 25 people that work with us, and they work with us. No one works for us. We all work together. So I love that. I'm building in our fintech element so that I can truly help people and create an annuity for my team. Again, we want to be there for any life event. If you're deciding to buy a home or rent, or to retirement, you're trying to figure out if you should own a house or not, or like that one example I gave earlier, I got to help someone make sure they knew all the choices available to make a good decision about colleges. That's what I love. I don't want to be transactional. I want to be in the relationship part of this. Life is too short not to be. So that's what I get excited about every day, is waking up, talking to unique people that have a passion for something, and I get to help them get to their goals.
Wow. Wow. Seems like you're focused on, building a real estate lending company, not just in California, but across the country as much as possible, with a tiger team of 25 superstars that are working with you right now. And seems like you're also building a fintech platform that can result in recurring revenue down the line. But how did you end up focusing on this thesis specifically? How did you select this thesis to focus on?
It started with my first job, and it was I worked in investment banking And specifically, there was a department called Venture Services. It's like a family office, is what that would be like in today's world. A family office is something where a high net worth family needs resources. They want someone to manage their entire professional assets or their wealth. And so you bring in experts in different categories so that you surround that client with the best of class of those specific categories. I am not good at everything. I don't want to be a generalist, but I believe that there was going to be two categories of clients we're going to have. The rate shoppers that want a discount or the best deal in every type of transaction. Those people are normally not as loyal or as relationship based. I want to be on the other side, which is about diving deeper with that client. Doesn't mean I make more money. It just means I get to be more involved. And I'm hopeful that that involvement lets me build a bigger relationship with them and those other key important people that are around that client. So maybe I get to meet the estate planner that then refers me to all their clients, or the CPA, or the wealth advisor. That's what I'm about, is being part of that surrounding, being one of those key experts that a family can count on for any decision. And it doesn't need to be high net worth. It can be any family. A lot of families don't know when they buy, they don't know what's available. So we need to help them fill the voids of those things that are important in their decision making.
And what kind of key financing voids do you help families fill these days?
I like to say that we create wealth through real estate financing, and that we're there for life events. So for me, one of the big ones right now, a lot of families are trapped in their property. What that means is they may have a low interest rate. And they may think that they can't move because their rate's so low compared to current rates, and or there might be no inventory to move into if they go sell their property. So we have a program which is known as a buy before you sell program, or a bridge loan is another term for that, where someone can use the equity from one house to then buy another property, creating a bridge that allows them to get into their next property and sell their house later. I love that tool because it opens up a lot of opportunities for people to go look to find the right house, but they're not committed to sell their property. They can wait until they've moved. They can wait till they've found the dream home. A lot of people get stressed out, and I had one family that had to move into 10 different Airbnbs over the course of 3 months. And I don't wish it upon anybody. Think about trying to move 10 times while you have a life going on. That buy before you sell is truly going to be here for a long time, because even seniors aren't going to move until they found the right house for their need. Maybe they're in a 2-story house, need to be on a single story. Maybe they want to be closer to their grandkids that live across the country. They don't know what neighborhood they want to live in. So we want to create space for them and give them tools to know that they have a lot of different ways to look at something and feel comfortable and confident that they can make a move.
Seems like you have carved a niche for yourself in the buy before you sell, or the buy now, sell later market. What mistakes do you see your peers and competitors making in the buy now, sell later market that clearly separates you from them?
I'm very lucky to have experienced buying and selling 19 homes myself. So that's one avenue. Another is the fact that we have a streamlined process. Everything is done in our branch, in-house, in our office, in our company. We have no institutional elements to it all. It's all private capital. That's capital we get deployed internally. And also on the fintech side, a lot of these financial technology companies are getting too many licenses. They're playing in too many different pools, so they're not good at one thing. So I have a fintech company that I have called Calc that is truly one of the best partners because they are good at one thing and one thing only. So they're not trying to steal the loan or do the real estate side. They're just doing one thing really well. So again, going back to the reference of putting the best people around you, it's the same thing. Putting the best tool you find out there around you.
And tell me more about your interests in Calc, the fintech company. What pain points does Calc solve for their customers?
Sure. Calc is a contingency buster loan program. What it does is it allows people to have peace of mind that they can buy a property before they sell, and they can get conventional financing on that purchase. A lot of times people will have to do a private capital loan or a bridge loan, which can be very expensive and very short term. So bridge loans are two loans. Calc offers one final solution up front, and it gives the homeowner peace of mind that they get to work with their favorite local lender and favorite local realtor to help them get over the hurdle. A lot of these other companies out there have technology elements that take away from the local community and try to make that expertise be somewhere in an AI or digital world, when in fact, that local realtor is an important part of the process. Maybe it's sunny on one side of the street over the other side. Maybe the neighbors are not nice people. Maybe there's crime that's not really talked about. Maybe the schools are changing and improving. Maybe the best coffee shop is 2 blocks from this property. Those are all things, unfortunately, people that aren't local will not be able to help a family understand while they're making a big decision.
Mm, makes a lot of sense. It seems like, even at Revest Homes, you have a very unique way of defining your team's culture and philosophy. You refer to them as colleagues and partners, not employees. So, how did you come up with designing the culture at your company?
It all starts with the end goal, which is I want to create a legacy, to leave something better than I found it, leave my impact. And if you look at it from engineer things from the back end forward, you can build all your systems and procedures and policies to make sure that happen. So to me, remember, I had 2 of my mentors die of brain cancer. Brain cancer gave them, after diagnosed, each about 9 months to live. So I want people to have flexibility, to have life balance, to make sure they're getting the most out of their day. And if they need to leave early or can, leave early. Go enjoy the moments you have. There are times you may have to stay later than you want to, but either way, it's about working with each other. With is together, with is stronger. When you work for someone, it does not feel like you're able to be empowered to grow to the capability or dreams you have. So I am trying to empower everybody. And what I like about that, we're small but mighty. I've always been ranked in the top 100 loan officers in the country, but that doesn't matter to me. What I've learned and love most about what I do is I have flexibility. I can go a week and work remotely somewhere. I can say yes to going to my kids' school that's 4 houses from where I live to volunteer. I signed up today to volunteer, for example. It's fun when you can look at life and say, if you want a culture based around getting things done, but also doing it in a way that allows people to live their lives, you get more out of it. I get excited people truly living their best life. And yeah, times are not always good. Sometimes we got to roll up our sleeves, and I'm always willing to do any task I ask anyone on my team to do, I'm willing to do also. That I'm humble enough to know that, hey, I'm still in the trenches with them. I'm still doing the same thing they're doing, because if I'm out of that role, I can't be as effective or relevant to their need, because I'm no longer understanding what they need me to focus in on. So that's what's big to me, is just creating a culture where we all can win together, and you are a brand within a brand. Yeah, your staff, Nick, for sure. Like, they represent you. My staff represents me. I represent them. So we have to all know that we have a common reputation too that we have to live up to. So I'm only bringing on high caliber human beings, number one, and then the rest normally works out just fine.
Then I love the brand within a brand analogy as well. In terms of your scale in your career, as well as at your Revest Homes right now, what has been your aha moment of scale?
Great question. So my aha moment is when I look back and I've helped a family over like 17 years. When someone who I haven't talked to for 10 years reaches out, Jim, you're my first call. I'm lucky to have a very simple name, right? Jim Black is not a hard name to remember. It's a great name. Yeah, sometimes they get Joe Black or Jack Black, but like, it's pretty easy. So I'm very honored when a past client reaches out or someone in my life reaches out, even just to catch up. And because life to me is about relationships, it's about making every effort you can to surround yourselves around people that have similar values or that you respect or look up to. And that's life. And so I choose to live my life that way and run my business that way. And I also want to be the same person at work that I am at home. So if I can be the exact same person, my life's pretty good 24 hours a day.
Hmm. Completely agree. Jim, what are the biggest challenges you're facing in scaling your team or operations to reach your aspirational goals over the next 12 months?
This is the hard one, for sure. This is the $1 million question. So, having just in time capacity. I don't think if everyone's have said that way. Just in time inventory is when you want to have, right? But I'm thinking just in time capacity. So, would I love to have 55 staff members that are having fun? Yes. Unfortunately, it's not reality when things are slower. So, our biggest challenge, I think, is to make sure that we can scale according to the opportunity. And the hardest job we have, like is we can only forecast our business model out probably 90 days out. It's a very strange environment to be in. You make investments for years, like my production manager, she's been with me for 8 years now. I've made a commitment to her, and but it's weird because she's working with me for 8 years, but I can only see 90 days out in the vision of my business. So that just in time capacity is the biggest challenge we all face.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's very insightful. And maybe we can talk offline about, that in more detail. It seems like a very fascinating problem to solve. But for listeners who are listening right now, they really want someone who cares about them in the long term, who's so, obsessed about maintaining a long-term legacy that they know they will get an amazing service from you in the short term. How should they reach out to you and your team?
Yeah, first and foremost, just know that it's going to be about genuine, authentic advice. My goal is to get someone to a place where they make a decision, do something or not. I don't want person stuck for years thinking about doing something because life is too short to stress about the unknown. So my goal is to provide the solutions that are custom and creative to the goals of the consumer and then have them make a decision. So I like to be reached out via a Zoom or calendar like this. I like to see people when I make decisions, but the easiest way would be to go to meetjimblack.com. It's that easy, meetjimblack.com, and reach out and get to know us, schedule time. We always try to make 15 minutes to 30 minutes available. It's about you. It's not about the bank. It's about your interest. It's about what's important to you. And we don't take that lightly. Our passion shines through, and we want to help you.
Wow. And Jim, right now, let's talk about the future. You're involved with a lot of fintech and prop tech startups. Some that I can pull from your LinkedIn right now are Ricky Realty, Milestone Labs, Steadworth, Dropper Sum. We've already talked about Calc. So as you look at the real estate world from different vantage points, including, all your tremendous work at Revest, how do you feel about the ideal home buyer and homeowner journey in the future? Like, where do you think the industry is heading towards in enabling, and what kind of an ideal home buyer or homeowner journey will that enable?
Great question. So I'm a big believer on basically creating a financial technology backpack, virtual, like a portal. We have a home ownership hub journey that we use through two companies, FinLocker and Homeowner AI. I want to be as far ahead as I can when people are making life decisions. I don't want them to even have to think of who they're going to use. I want to have provided so much value to them prior to them making the decision that when they're ready, we're ready to rock and roll and go. So I'm trying to get as far ahead as I can of that decision. I think a great example of a company that's done that is SoFi. SoFi started with the beginning loan that someone's going to have as a college age person. Their goal is to grow with that journey of that home, that consumer, to provide the best experience. I'm doing the same thing without the college student loan, but I'm doing that with providing education, knowledge through social media, through events, The fintech tools have a lot of cool features in them, and start there to create that homeownership hub and start surrounding that person with the best tools available so that they're prepared, that they can make a great decision. I have like NFL players on my team. I have people that have been in the military. I have people that are part of affordability initiative. I have a whole slew of team members of mine that really provide different unique value. So we have like an approach where we like to make sure we have a suitability where we find the right partner on our team with the right client. So we're trying to do that way ahead of the curve. So it's no longer chasing after a deal. It's no longer trying to get a listing agreement signed. It's building value way up front with tools and resources. And then when they're ready, we're ready to go and be available for them.
Wow. Wow. That sounds incredible. I love it. It's a customer centric company, and all the operations are designed on enabling, helping customers make key decisions throughout their journey. Absolutely love that. Now, I'd love to ask you some rapid fire questions, Jim.
Sounds great.
Now, what fact do you know about the home financing industry that would surprise most people?
Most people don't realize that 1% change in interest rate can create about an 11% increase or decrease in buying power. So on a $1 million purchase, 1% decrease in rate allows you to qualify for about $1,110,000.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Jim, let's say a family office calls you and says they just have had a liquidity event. They've invested their money in a bunch of different asset classes, but now want your advice on how to invest $100 million in real estate. How would you advise them?
So I'm not an advisor for investment purposes, but if I was, I would be able to share with them to be diverse. I would make it be in growing markets where I can grow in appreciation along with the rents. So college towns to areas where there's a lot of migration pattern. I would say study where people are moving and where jobs are being created. If you follow those areas and those signals, you'll be able to not only grow your short-term rental income capacity, but also that the growth of the actual asset should be higher.
Yeah, follow the demand, follow where the population's growing, jobs are growing, and eventually your investments will match up to that. Seems like you've had quite a real estate portfolio. You bought and sold 19 houses. Before the call, we were talking about you owning a piece of a golf course. So what's your personal real estate portfolio like, Jim?
So right now I'm involved with a 703 home development project that we just got entitled in Wisconsin, on the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. It's called Highland Estates, and it's a really cool product where we have built-in blockchain technology into the buying experience. I'm a general partner on the project. Its average home price point's about $600,000. And it's exciting because we're going to be able to bring some of these affordability tools into our own development. So we're at the forefront of that, which is exciting. Microsoft just announced their worldwide AI campus 3 miles away from our site, which is very exciting. Yeah, it helps a little bit. And these things don't happen overnight, though. So we've been involved with this journey since 2020. So when people think you get rich quick, you don't. Things take a long time to develop. And if it's so easy to do, that's going to be a red flag also. So we're very fortunate to be building in that area of the country. And I also just keep it simple and everything else. I'm very fortunate to own a home near the beach and home near the mountains. So I just try to enjoy as much time as I can at home and just make it all count. Again, life is short. You and I have the same amount of time in a day. Doesn't matter if you're worth $10 million and I'm worth a penny. It's the same amount of time in a day. So I want to make the most out of my time.
Jim, what's the best financial advice that you've ever received?
Make great long-term decisions that everything works out in the long run. If you see the long run vision of what you're trying to do, the distractions and along the way won't throw you off. You want to see that long-term horizon of things. If you make good long-term decisions, you're going to be okay.
You were involved with coaching a lot of founders and startups. You've founded a lot of companies yourself. You've been a part of a lot of winning teams. What organization or institution would you fix if you had the time?
I would try to help fix the conservatorships in the government around affordability for housing. I think there's a lot more that can be done at a national level. I would also like to have the builders get more support from the government, both local governments and the national government. There's so much red tape right now in the local market to build. Every single unit right now, on average, costs about $65,000 just before you even put a stick in the ground to start building. $65,000 waste of money for everybody. Let's fix these things at the local level by giving federal grants or federal opportunities for builders to make more units available. Inventory will be the issue forever. We have 20 million millennials that need to buy homes in the next 5 years. We got seniors that need to downsize into a more comfortable house. And so that's my big thing. It's just get the government to get more involved in affordability. We know it's a big political thing right now, but I want to see it happen. Actions speak louder than words. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jim. Could you explain a little bit about your thoughts on how you want to fix conservatorships around affordability? I understand the zoning piece where local governments need to be more inviting for builders, but help us understand your thinking on conservatorships for affordability.
Yeah, the problem I see is that when you have a economic and Fed-minded committee that's talking about quantitative tightening, that means that they're not buying as many mortgages, so they have less involvement with mortgages. They're selling more mortgages than they're buying. We need them to start buying more mortgages and portfolio those programs, which would allow for more flexible programs to come available or niches that they can then subsidize or approve that allow people to become homeowners in different ways. That large down payment or the mortgage insurance premium is sometimes a nuisance. And I think products like home appreciation loans or wealth share type of loans are good things in certain situations. Unfortunately, the government does not support those at this time. I'm hopeful that they can make more of an effort to do that.
Couldn't agree with you more. Last question, Jim. If your loved ones agree to be mentored by you, what's the number one skill you would want them to learn?
Great question. To me, it's all about relationships. You have to be a good networker and connector. If you're authentic and genuine and focus on relationships, you're going to be doing just fine in life. Relationships matter. Relationships are the key to big decisions being made. It's the key to getting resources, and it's the key to growing and learning. If I don't have relationships, I'm stuck in my own thoughts. I'm not able to get advice. I'm not able to get perspective. I'm not able to grow and learn. So to me, that networking, connecting piece is my strongest tool and something that I hope continues on as a legacy for the people that matter to me.
Love that. That was Jim Black. It is all about relationships. He's an elephant with an amazing memory and a fierce loyalty and a focus on creating long lasting positive value to everybody he meets or can help out. If you want to hang out with him, he recommends doing a Zoom call, which you can schedule through meetjimblack.com, or you can connect with him on LinkedIn on Meet Jim Black. We'll add the details in the description. This is Nik Shah. If you ever want to talk about real estate anytime, shoot me a note on CEO at Home LLC. Thanks, everyone.